Hi, my fireflies. Welcome back to your spiritual safe place with Kendia Blessing. Today, my word comes from the book of Esther. I learned so much just from reading her story. And it's not even that I learned a lot, it just confirmed a lot about how God operates and how God moves. So guys, you need to know that when God is your foundation, when you stand on a sturdy rock with God, the enemy does not like having no power over you. There are so many people the enemy does not attack because the enemy is already within them. But when the enemy has no grasp, no grip, no control over you, that infuriates the enemy, and that makes the enemy want to send his wrath over you. And that's exactly what happened in the book of Esther. Esther's cousin Mordecai did not want to bow down to the king's right-hand man because Mordecai was a Jew, and meaning his foundation was in Jesus, and he didn't serve any idols. So he, in his mind, is like, why would I bow down to Haman? Why would I bow down to you? Who are you? And so Haman did not like that, and from that point on, Haman started to plot for his downfall and actually get him killed. But look how God operates, guys. So Esther was newly appointed queen, and she was in a position to cause change and to change how the story was going. And God is like, we appoint people in certain positions for a reason. When you feel called, when you are placed actually in position of power, of influence, this is for a reason, because God places his pawns throughout the world so that God's plan can come into fruition. Because when Mordecai found out that all the Jews were going to be killed, essentially, Mordecai turned to Esther and said, can you please speak to the king, because this is what's going on and I need you to talk to him. But it's important to know that nobody can come to the king, nobody can talk to the king unless he requests them in his chambers. And if they did, they would be sentenced to death. And so Mordecai is asking Esther, can you go talk to the king? And Esther is like, talk to the king? Esther is like, I will be sentenced to death if I talk to the king. Like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. And Mordecai was like, what if you were brought here for a time such as this? And that is so powerful, because Mordecai got her to change her perspective. Yes, this is a crazy request. This is a crazy idea. But what if this is the reason why you were brought here, why you were put in this position? And that speaks to so many of us and how we feel about our dreams, our visions, and our desires. For a lot of us, we haven't seen these things be accomplished within our family. We haven't seen these things come into fruition. We haven't seen it. And that's because we are the ones called to birth this new creation. What if you were brought to earth for a time such as this, to be the game changer, to be the one that breaks the generational curses? Because when there are desires placed in your heart, they're there for a reason. The desires where you feel called to make a huge change in the world and create a huge change within your family and for the future generations. Any big dream that is in your heart and you think, who am I? But what if you were always the one that God planned on using to fulfill this vision that seems impossible? But you were brought here for a time such as this. And so Esther was like, okay, I will go talk to the king, and if I perish, I perish. And so when we're out here trying to fulfill the vision we have for our life, we're gonna try our hardest. We're gonna go all in. And whatever happens, if it brings us to our downfall, then it brings us to our downfall. But the worst thing that would possibly happen is if we were to not try at all. So God is saying, try, push, and believe that God is leading the way and God is in control and God knows your destiny, because he wouldn't place certain things in your heart if you weren't capable of accomplishing it. So Esther speaks to the king, and he hears what is going on and how Haman has plotted against Mordecai and all this drama and all this mess, right? And the king looked at the, what's it called? It's like a record book of people's actions. And the king saw how Mordecai actually helped the king not be killed, because he heard the guards who patrol the door plotting against the king to get him taken out. And Mordecai was an essential factor in this story of his life being saved, basically. And so the king was like, whose idea is it to put wrath on this person? And also, that's another point. God always keeps record of your actions and of your intentions. When you put out good into the world, when you have nothing but positive and genuine intention with everything that you do, God keeps a record of this, and God blesses those people who have a good record. So when you think that the things that you're doing, your positive nature, you helping other people, even when, let's say you help someone and they don't say thank you, it doesn't matter, because the all-present, omnipresent, all-knowing God sees you and your life and every little action you have taken that had good intention. It doesn't go unnoticed in God's eyes, and there is a record being kept, and your blessings are just piling up, I cannot talk, ready to be released because of the type of person that you are. So this is just such a crazy story, so I'm gonna try to get it out. So Mordecai and I literally got distracted. Haman's plan literally backfired, because Haman was plotting to kill Mordecai, and he created this thing to hang him. And you want to know what happened? Do you want to know what happened? Haman himself got hung by the same plot he was using to take the next person out. And then Mordecai got appointed as the king's right-hand man. Mordecai literally took his position, and he was killed. Haman, the one that was coming to attack him. So it's so crazy how the enemy works, and how the enemy will never have the power. His plot will never be successful. And what you put out, what you speak over other people, good or bad, always comes back to you. So when you see certain people getting the things that you want, or living the life that you desire to live, we should always clap for them. We should always celebrate them. And of course, we should never wish ill intention or harm on the next person, because really all that energy is going to come back to you. So God sees it all. When you are clapping for the next person, your reward is on the way. You're up next, because God sees your heart and your spirit. And when you're wishing bad on people, God sees that as well, and the bad that you're speaking over the next person is going to come right back to you. And also, when you are the one that has been brought here for a time such as this, and it feels like, this is really crazy, this is a crazy mission, but you're setting out on it and fulfilling it, you have no idea the people connected to your purpose, how you end up helping people along their journey and getting them to the place where God wants them to be as well. Not only are you getting there, but you're bringing along and helping others to get to the point where God has called them, because God always has his pawn set up. And so if you're set up here, God is like, okay, we're going to use you to bring that other pawn in this position as well. So this whole book was just crazy, because I was just so shocked at how it turned out. It was like I was watching a movie. I was like, what? This is so insane. So I did take a lot of notes, and I hope that I got everything out. So the tables always turn when you walk with God and your foundation is strong in Him. The tables always turn in your favor, no matter what the situation or the circumstance looks like, and everything happens for a reason. You really have to trust that everything happens for a reason. God is in control always. Always, okay? Let me make sure I got all my notes out. Oh yeah, so within this book, before Esther talked to the king, she said to Mordecai and herself and a lot of other people, you know, I encourage you to read the book for yourself because it's hard to get out the message without giving the backstory. And this is my first time talking or speaking a word like straight from the Bible, so bear with me, guys. But fasting is very important, as you probably know, because that allows us to not live in our flesh and to be spirit led. So I would encourage you guys to fast, pray about it, and ask God, when should I fast? How long should I fast? But just at some point in your life, fast, and that will change your life. Because before Esther approached the king, she said, okay, we're going to fast for 3 days and 3 nights, and then we'll move forward. Because Esther was like, I need to be spirit-led and not in my flesh, so we're fasting. Okay, let me see. Okay, I think I got out everything that I learned from this chapter. Yeah, I think I did. So I hope you guys were able to follow along with what I was saying. Even myself, I'm like, am I delivering this correctly? Like, normally, you know what, I'm not gonna go into that. Anyway, yeah, so that was the book of Esther. You're called here for a time such as this. Don't doubt that God is backing you and that you will actually be used to help bring others into position. And when you're sturdy on God's foundation, the enemy will attack you. We just have to be stronger spiritually and know that we're so powerful. That's why the enemy is attacking us. Because who's walking with us? Period. So yeah, guys, that's the message. I'm going to leave it there. I encourage you guys to read the book of Esther and experience it for yourself. But yeah, I'll be back when God leads me to come back online. Until then, stay shining bright, Firefly, and I'll see you again soon.